Hey guys, I posted a video the other day. I think it was like 2 days ago. Thank you for watching if you did. Disclaimer before I start. I do not own any rights to the My Hero Academia franchise, and nor does the author of this fan fiction. I am listening to music in the background, and I do not own any rights to that music either. Before I start, I might have to give y'all some. So there are no tags that I can remember from this. I listened to it, but yeah. Red like the blood and your shoes. By I'm outside your window on AO3. Summary. Izuku knows red all too well. It is the color that represents quirklessness, the label attached to him his whole life. During a class trip, Izuku finds himself facing the same red. Or, Izuku runs into a quirkless girl as she asks the same question he asked. Red. Oh, this is the beginning of the story. Red. The color of malice, distrust, pain. Quirkless. Izuku has always known red. It stood for the blood dripping down his arms. It stood for the red of Katsuki's eyes glaring down at him. It stood for the forsaken red shoes. No matter how much hate they represent, he couldn't help but feel connected to them. They had many scuff marks from trying and failing to run away from bullies. Ripped and torn they were. Yet no matter how damaged, he couldn't stop the connection to the shoes, the connection to her. It all started on a simple class outing. Class 1A, nicknamed the Trouble Class, collectively decided to go to the mall. Ashido suggested the idea first, stating she needed to get some new shorts. Kirishima followed, expressing his need to get more workout equipment. As more and more classmates added their input, Uraraka offered a class trip to the mall. Everyone jumped at the idea. Well, almost everyone. Izuku hadn't been very fond of malls since the incident. As the class turned to him with their concerned expressions, he couldn't help but feel nervous. Kaminari was the first to speak. Please, man, it wouldn't be the same without you. The rest of the class echoed the sentiment. An overwhelming warmth spread in his chest. Oh, how foreign the feeling was. The Trouble Class title wasn't just for show. The class had been caught in more villain attacks than they could count. Aizawa, hearing everything, had offered to chaperone. Normally, Izuku would be overjoyed, but something twisted in his gut. He knew the feeling all too well. After all, it was the only thing that he had felt after the diagnosis. The bus ride to the mall was lively and filled with chatter. Everyone expressed their excitement about hanging out with the class again. In the past, they were merely classmates, but now they were like family. Siblings who would give their kidney but murder you if you took their food. It really felt like they were regular teenagers. The bus ride felt like hours. He loved Ida, but he really needed to chill with the reprimanding. It was giving him a headache. He sighed in relief as they pulled into the parking lot. Thankfully, Aizawa had the decency to not pick the same mall. The class of rowdy teenagers all sprinted toward the center. Peering from the corner, Izuku could see how done with life Aizawa was. Honestly, real. After past mistakes, the class made a point of walking in small groups rather than all going together. Aizawa's rational reasoning that it wasn't logical to bunch up all together. 20 teenagers and a homeless man aren't exactly subtle in a crowded mall. Izuku fortunately was grouped up with his two best friends, Ida and Uraraka. Made it their responsibility for Izuku to have a good time. Let's do this! Uraraka's face was set in determination. Grabbing their hand, she pulled them away to a small arcade. The arcade wasn't anything too special. It had just a few games and a couple of people. The atmosphere was much more calming than the one in the mall. They ended up playing a few games. Ida turned out to be a surprisingly skilled Dance Dance Revolution player, while Uraraka used up all her coins trying to get a small Kurami plush out of a claw machine. Izuku focused on all-might shooter games, using all his coins and causing Uraraka to laugh and ruffle his hair. After fully exploring the mall, they found themselves walking the concourse. Izuku couldn't deny how much fun he was having. Ida's eyes drifted away from them and onto the map in his hands. Where to next? Uraraka peered around the mall until her eyes locked on something. There! Uraraka exclaimed, jumping up and down. Izuku's eyes drifted to where she was pointing. A small mochi stand lay at the side of the food court. I'm down for some food, he found himself saying. Uraraka turned and looked at him like he had hung the moon. It couldn't help but make him feel a little giddy. Ida cleared his throat. I suppose it wouldn't hurt. Uraraka squealed and ran toward the stand. Izuku's smile brightened. Sorry, it was weird. Wait for me. Ida sighed, then gave a soft laugh. Hey, I gotta go to the bathroom real quick, Izuku said, standing up. Uraraka, still eating her mochi, gave a thumbs up. Ida looked more hesitant. Aizawa-sensei said that we shouldn't go off alone. Izuku shooed away his worry. What's the worst that could happen? It's just the bathroom. Yeah, let him go, Ida, Uraraka exclaimed, mouth full. Ida sighed and looked back to Izuku. Be back soon. Will do, boss, Izuku yelled as he ran towards the bathroom. Ida shook his head in displeasure. There are a lot of bad things that can happen when Izuku's involved. Okay, good, I am. Izuku scrambled to the bathroom. Just as he was about to grab the doorknob, a sound caught his attention. Crying. He found his eyes drifting away from the door and onto the little girl. She looked to be around 6 or 7. He scanned the girl up and down, stopping when he froze. Red. The same red that he has always known. The same red he had been attached to his whole life. The red of her shoes. The red of the blood on her arms. Hey, are you okay? The girl peeked up from under her bangs. Her eyes searched him up and down. She seemed so hesitant, so scared. He couldn't blame her. I promise I'm not here to harm you. In fact, he lets out a soft chuckle. I'm kinda here to do the opposite. The girl still looked very distraught. I'm not very good at this comforting thing, huh? Sheepishly, he rubs the back of his neck. The girl stares blankly at him. She no longer seems distressed, just confused. I, have some bandages in my backpack for your, wounds. Always keep them on me. Still hesitant, the girl looked him up and down. Suddenly, her eyes locked on something. Her demeanor quickly changed, looking less closed off. The girl brightened. You're like me! He smiled softly. I am. And you're in the hero course? That too. He crouched down to her level. I saw you at the sports festival. You were like all poosh and bam to the ice sky. She was making vivid motions with her hands. It looked so much like what a child would do, and he was glad for it. He chuckles a bit before letting his smile drop. What happened to you? The girl gives a quick glance at his shoes before getting quieter. You know. I do. He grabs his backpack out from behind him before placing it on the floor. Slowly, he opens it and takes out some bandages. May I? The girl simply nods. Steadily, he starts wrapping the bandages around her arm. So, the girl suddenly speaks up again. You have the shoes and a quirk? His hands shake a bit, slowing down the wrapping. It's a bit of a long story. I have time. Right, well, it's complicated? The girl raises an eyebrow. I was a late bloomer. Oh god, he feels like such a liar. Well, better this than all for one coming to murder his whole family. The doctor said that if I used it any sooner, my limbs would have blown off. The girl gives him a terrified look. Switching to the other arm, he continues speaking. Yeah, so, I was quirkless for most of my life. So you know what it's like? The sentence wasn't said as a question, more like a statement. They both knew. Well, they both did know. Sighing, he starts to wrap a cut around her leg. Was all he said in reply. Silence spread around them as he finishes up the wrapping. Do you... The girl's voice wavers. I mean, you... Hey, it's okay. Whatever you want to say, I promise I won't judge you for. He puts a comforting hand on her shoulder. I promise I only want to help. Pardon me. It's fucking 4 a.m. She looks up shyly at him. A nervous smile slips across her face as she starts speaking up again. Do you think I could become a hero? Everything hit him at that moment. I'm sorry, Izuku. He'll never become a hero. I don't think you can become a hero without a quirk. Just pray for a quirk in your next life and take a swan dive off the roof of the building. As he looked at the girl in front of him, he saw the fear and desperation and the hope he saw himself. Smiling slightly, he folded his hands in his lap. Looking the girl in the eyes, he started speaking. Quirks are tools. They aren't the main part of you. Sure, they can help, but they aren't all that matters. Take the pro hero Eraserhead, for instance. He practically fights quirkless. He does fight... Never mind. Sure, it would be much harder for a quirkless person to become a hero. Keyword, harder. Not impossible. Determination, training, and maybe a gun or two can make a huge difference. So to answer your question, yes. I believe a quirkless person can become a hero. The girl was full on sobbing at this point. Her face was in her hands as wetness dripped down her face. Thank you. Scooting closer, Izuku slowly opened his arms. The girl immediately went in for the hug, arms wrapping around her back. They sat there for what felt like hours. Slowly, the girl pulled away. Taking a deep breath, she carefully grabbed her backpack and stood up. I should get going. My parents are probably worried. She wiped her eyes, turning away to leave. Before you go. The girl slowly turned back to him, cocking her head to the side, her eyes locked. What's your name? The girl gave a soft smile before answering, Ruby. He chuckles a bit. Fitting. Giving one last glance at her shoes, she turns away. I guess it is. Then she walks away, never to be seen again. Giving a soft exhale, he picks up his backpack and walks back to his friends. "What took you so long?" Uraraka asks when he gets back. "And why did you bring your backpack to the bathroom?" Ida raises an eyebrow. "Two great questions I'm not gonna answer." Sitting back down, he silently eats the rest of his mochi. Thinking back on the interaction, his mind focuses on the dreaded color red. Red may stand for malice and pain, but it can also signify passion and determination. Ruby just needed the right encouragement, and if years later he had an extreme bias for a girl in the sports festival, well, that's entirely his business. Notes. Midoriya, I forgot to be. Ida, you forgot. What were you doing? More Midoriya. Hugging a random child. Duh. Uraraka and Ida. The one emoji string where the two eyes and the mouth are just like flabbergasted. You know that one? I apologize. I've taken such a fucking long ass break. Shit got whack. Like every other time I say it. So, today I found out that one of my old cats, Bartholomew, he's one of the cats that we got rid of. Because, we had to get rid of the kittens. Duh. And, well, he died from PIF? Piff? Piff. Let me look it up real quick. Oh wait, it's literally. Okay, so ignore the girl in the background. Let's see. I guess I just have to look it up again. Piff. Wiki. Shit, where did it go? Oh, it's called FIP. So, FIP is basically it's called feline infectious peritonitis. So it's basically just cat COVID, and usually if the cat has a 1 month or less average life expectancy for what happens after it. So the end phase, so it's like cat COVID, except for it's like spread by cats peeing in the same litter box. And it can take up to like a year or so to like show up in the cat. But once the cat gets it, it's like usually fatal if they don't get the medication that they need. And I'm so fucking worried about that because Juniper, my cat, is his mother and therefore shared a litter box with him for like the first fucking 2 months of his goddamn life. So I'm so fucking scared that my cat will die from it. Knock on wood. So, I guess I have to fucking book another veterinarian appointment with the veterinarian to make sure she doesn't have it, because if she does get it, she will die. And I don't want her to die. She's my baby. That sounds so fucking whack. I should probably check if Sweetie has it too. So the other day I posted a video onto my TikTok, going over Houdini, Juniper's son, Juniper, the cat that I got from the school bus, and Sweetie, the elderly cat that lives in the wild. So, I'm so terrified of Sweetie, but I love her so much. Want to hear a sad story? If you don't want to hear about it, I suggest you click off, because that's probably what the rest of this is gonna be. So, a few years ago. Oh, this has mutilation of an animal. click off if you don't want to hear that. So basically what happened was Sweetie got shanked in the neck by a turkey and almost died. I'll go more into it right now. So a few years ago, I was in my room and I noticed that Sweetie was looking a little weird, and I looked at her because I do that sometimes. Well, obviously she's a cat. But I noticed that there was a gaping hole in her neck. So, of course, like any other 11, 12-year-old would do, I screamed for my mom and showed her that there was a gaping wound in Sweetie's neck. So we had to rush her to the airplane veterinarian office down the road. She went into surgery that night because she was really close to getting an infection, and we got her back like a day or two later. This costed over $1,000 to get her fixed up. Thanks. And well, we got her back. She's nice and safe, or else I wouldn't be talking about her right now. But anyways, she had to go into a cone, and she literally tried getting the cone off at every single waking moment. And, so we just had her inside for like a solid 2 or 3 weeks, maybe a month, so that her wound could heal because it was stitched up. And, she didn't get any infections that I remember, but when we did take her in, she did have an infection because it had been like a day, and cats' immune systems suck ass, I guess. I looked into it more when I was doing an essay for college for it, and yeah. But anyways, she's okay now. But I was scared for her. My mom almost started a lawsuit with my next door neighbors because this isn't the first time that one of their animals had attacked ours. Because Oscar, you know the one, my dog. So the next door neighbor has an ex-police dog. I'm not going to disclose the name because that's way too revealing for around me. But anyways, the dog had attacked Oscar twice, and first time Oscar ran off into the woods, and our next door neighbor helped us find him because she's an absolute sweetheart. I love her. She patched up my knee when I fell down this fucking hill. But yeah, second time Oscar ran home. Third time, the police dog and his little sister fucking both ganged up on my dog while he was on the chain outside. We did end up getting those dogs away. Those two are no longer allowed outside without anybody being around them, which is great, because I honestly thought the police dog was dead for a solid month and a half because I hadn't seen him for a while. Well, I think he's dead, but I'm not entirely sure. But anyways, gute Nacht. Sleep so tight.